Hi.
Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be here. Metaverse Monday, 365 every day, yes.
Yeah, welcome, Art. Thanks so much for hopping on and letting me host with you on this. This is a pretty incredible opportunity to share a little bit of knowledge.
Absolutely. So let's do maybe quick intros over the speakers and then, so everybody, quick agenda. I'll lay out of why creators, KOLs, so important in crypto space. And post that. It's going to be really quick, like maybe 5 minutes. And then we're going to move on to the panel, like, the meat of the show, where we're going to really get into data-driven insights, case studies, things and advice, do's and don'ts, which, by the way, is super critical. So let's bring everybody on stage and do a quick intro, and then we'll move to our presentation session, and then the biggest session is panel. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's get Chase up here. Does Chase have their camera on? Oh, hello. Hi, Chase.
How are you guys?
Hey, Chase.
Welcome.
Welcome. So let's go quick intro. Today it's all about crypto, KOLs. What does it mean? Why we're here? Chase is one of the biggest, in my opinion, and really known faces in YouTube. He has over 200,000 subscribers, over 30,000 on Twitter. So he really knows how to build the audiences. He really knows how to build that message that really authentic to him, and that's very important. Authenticity is probably the core. Maybe so. Chase, maybe a quick introduction, a little bit about yourself, and what got you into crypto, and what excites you.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Chase. I got into crypto in 2017. Then I started making videos in 2019 on YouTube. And ever since then, I've been pretty obsessed with YouTube, even outside of crypto, just learning the in and outs, how the algorithm works. It's still a mystery, I guess. And what type of sponsors work, what doesn't work, where brands waste money, how they can make more on their money. So I know there's a lot of brands here, so I'll open to answering any of your questions when it comes to making sure your money is spent right when it comes to advertising.
Absolutely. It's very good to know. I'll do my quick introduction as well. I'm Art Malkov, former and the first CMO at Poly Market. And then I was a CMO at IoTex and Zilliqa. Therefore, I have seen all sorts of markets. I have seen why influencers really important in crypto, especially if they are crypto dedicated, not just somebody from Web2 trying to get to Web3. And we'll get into why it's such a big difference. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank you, Cici, for bringing it all together. And Cici, maybe give your intro as well.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Cici. I'm a digital artist, Web3 enthusiast. I'm a world builder, and of course, the host and founder of Metaverse Monday 365. I really have a passion for Web3 and the Metaverse. So that's what I do. I dive into blockchain, NFTs, AI, VR, and my mission is to inspire creativity, spark conversations, and help navigate the future of the Metaverse. And I fell into KOL because of our lovely co-founder Art. So I am here to help where I can. So
Amazing.
and I don't think Hector hopped on yet, so I'll see if I can get a hold of him in the background.
All right, fantastic. Well, yeah. So I will start with a kind of presentation overview what KOLs and crypto messaging is so important. And I'll share the screen for now, and so I think let me do that now. Let's see how it looks. Perfect. I think it's should be, I think I'm sharing it, right? Can we all see? Oh, perfect. All right. So with first Web3 influencer marketplace, which are really important in the space. And quick introduction. I have been also advisor for Columbia Love to Market Blockchain Accelerator. I'm Techstar Web3 Accelerator mentor. I'm writing for Forbes, Cointelegraph, Apollo Market. I've done a lot of work. iTech, Zilliqa, you name it. I've been in crypto since 2016, and really, excited to be part of the space. And what inspired me and our team to launch to launch our system, the lever, is because influencers were so important at all the projects I was part of or I advised were, because it's not just Web2 creators. Web2 and Web3 creators are very different. In Web3, they move it. Even let's look at the biggest one in the world, Elon Musk. Just with a couple of words, a few decisions, he can change the whole market. And that was in 2021 when he said they no longer accept as a payment, and the Bitcoin really collapsed just from one message. And that's just an example. Just a quick view: crypto influencers move attention of millions in social sentiment every day in markets. Definitely, along for the ride with it. Therefore, any project that wants to be in community building and crypto have to be aware where they are. So let's talk a little bit about budgets. I believe if like Web3 companies should allocate up to half of their marketing budgets on influencers, but I put a caveat here: if they can measure the performance. So that's a very, very important part. When I used to be Apollo Market or IoTex, I always wanted to benchmark how do we spend. And therefore, I would say you want to be engaged with creators, but really, it's really important to make sure that you know how to measure it. And we'll talk more about how to measure it, how not to measure it in the panel section, which is coming up very shortly. So 50%. And I can tell you that it sometimes have been more. I cannot say much more than that, but I have been part of the projects where we spent more. So just FYI. So brands, why are crypto influencers like our community builders? Why is they so important? And part of it is really, it's all about community in crypto. And if you want to reach community, you have to go to the head of the communities. And in addition to that, they're a source of news, right? There is always news from different protocols. There's so much news. There are dozens of big protocols releasing news. There are hundreds and I would say even thousands of projects that have news. And there's so much information. How do you condense and absorb it? And so they are the source of news and analysis. This is what KOLs are in crypto. They're not entertainers. They can be entertaining, but it's really a lot about education. And the bigger creators you'll see, they really share the insights and information. So every ecosystem in Web3 is, like example, DeFi, depend on one ZKs, relies on influencers to hit its marketing objectives. Could be that scaling community, reach new audiences and investors, amplifying brand recognition, and it's not going to change. In fact, I have seen it grow more and more in 2017, 18, in 2021, 22. The interest in tapping into communities, because that's where the audience lives. If you're a brand, want to reach audience in Solana or Ethereum or Base, you need to find somebody who has the trust of the community. So it's very simple that if you want to reach the largest audience, and the way I give an example is, imagine you're trying to build a fire. If you have a small fire, it's like you have a small community. It's tiny, right? You're just trying to ignite it and start, and it's very hard. And even if you have small fire going, you still want a larger fire because the fire is your community. So who are the people who have access to community, who have the biggest audiences? That's our lumberjacks of crypto. It's KOLs. And therefore, and by the way, KOL is key opinion leader, aka influencer. So if you're not sure what KOLs, it's influencer in crypto. And they're the ones that have the audience that can really ignite your fire of growth. And that's where, one of the biggest reasons why we built Lever is to bridge the gap. So let me tell you a little bit about our creators, and you can ask them later themselves. But what is it like to be a content creator? And the expectation is, you just completely smooth, always chilling, delivering news. Reality is you are getting swamped with spams and messages and scams and reg pulls and everybody trying to ask you to work on a project. And a lot of creators don't like that. Like you don't want to be spammed. You don't want to be part of the scam when somebody emails you, tries to get your information. So therefore, reality is more like this. Yeah. So, and creators are not business people for the most part. So they have to through hundreds of daily inquiries, which is like, being their own secretary. They have to engage in time-consuming negotiation, which, by the way, as a brand, if you try to reach brand creators, you saw probably there's a lot of miscommunication. There's things that fall apart. And it's not because they're not interested in working with you, it's because they're busy, they're thinking about something else. There are lots of things that takes place. And then arrange and ensure payments. That's really important too. So this is where we'll really look at our creators, like, how do you pay creator? Right now, by the way, brands, if you haven't worked with creators, you have to pay them up front. Most of the time, you have to send the money up front and hope for the best deliverables. So really, there is a friction where and for creator, they have to chase. If they're a small creator, they have to chase and collect the payment. So it's in imperfect system, and both sides are suffering. And so it's really about research, record, and publish content. That's what creator wants to do. How do we do that? And ultimately, that's where Lever was built. And in addition to brands and businesses are lost in the chaos of influencer marketplace. I just had a call earlier, and literally people telling me, we don't know how to know if they're real, if their audience are real. Should we even trust what they're doing? Meaning, like, they get hit by influencers all the time. And the issue here that when brand doesn't know how to select influencers, they don't have the metrics and know how to filter it out, it becomes very chaotic place. And so that's part of what Lever does, is really filtering out, is this real audience, or is it fake, or is it bot? And so, yeah, Lever is really a layer of trust. In fact, this is kind of how it looks. We handle escrow payments, better creators, similar booking process, because when back in the day at Polymarket, IoTech, Silica, I wished I had a platform like this. So we built it for ourselves, literally, because this is something I would love to use when I could just speed up and work with creators faster. In fact, we just rolled out new part of the platform. It's called My Recommendations. So we take algorithms of views of who you want to work with, of platforms, and we recommend creators based on who fits you. So you don't even have to wonder how to figure it out, who they are. So I'll keep it really quick, brief on the here. It's, as a brand, you don't want to have a headache of finding creators, having dedicated person. It's all takes a lot of time. And if you have a dedicated person, you still probably need more access to more creators who you can work with and trust. And so with Lever, you can cut on research and engagement by 90%. You can get valuable data. We're building out data platform all the time. A deploy campaign 800% faster, incredible, based safely and securely through escrow. And the next, I have a case study, and this is when to hire crypto YouTube creators. So I'll speed it up a little bit here. So generally, if you need long form, in-depth project education that builds trust for a new product, we suggest 3 to 5 YouTubers. Start with a few small ones, a couple of bigger ones, and that allows you to reach bigger, stickier audiences. You get benefit from SEO on Google and YouTube. You get to do in-depth content for engagement of existing audiences. It's also evergreen. Video, when you create on YouTube, can come back 3 years later, still bring you audiences, even 6 months later. Like I have seen videos that we done back at IoTech where that to this day, those videos still generating awareness. So think of it more of a foundational layer. The YouTube is where anybody who wants to go deeper into the rabbit hole, they will go through YouTube. And Other content creators sometimes they discover you organically because YouTube generally used for more in-depth research. So a lot of other creators watch that content of the creator that they follow, and they will do it. So I have seen a chain reaction a number of times. When to hire crypto creators, it's when you need short form content, but quick audience building. Generally, it's much faster. 15 to 20 Twitter personalities is a good number to hit. We can have smaller creators for very specific audiences and existing audiences where they have a lot of relationship, larger for a more blanket approach for reaching more eyeballs. Benefit of Twitter, while you don't have the same deep engagement, you have more eyeballs quicker, but attention span also gone quicker. So there's balance. Generally, it's cheaper to produce than YouTube and TikTok because it doesn't require as much time to create. So creators will charge more for YouTube because it takes more time. Other content creators can discover you organically. That's also good for Twitter. And Twitter threads, the deeper Twitter engagement, that's kind of in between where it's a little more than one tweet, but it's still not YouTube. We did not cover here TikTok, although Hector will cover it just for the sake of time. But TikTok is kind of between Twitter and YouTube, where it's still engaging on a short form video content. And so it's kind of also in pricing wise between YouTube and Twitter. And a quick case study. This is actually a recently client from Lever. You can see we removed all the information. So idea is that we're just kind of giving you the idea, but this is a real project. And yeah, so they really have to, they have all the audience here. You see, they started around August and they have a big spike. This just came from YouTube creators. So very important part. So, yes. All right. So, yeah. So, and all right. Can you hear me now? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you beautifully.
Excellent. So yeah. So as you can see, that was a big spike. We will be sharing this case study very shortly with spends and such. But I can tell you that it was very, very good ROI for the client, and it was real, honest, organic engagement. So I want to move to our panel. So let me just stop sharing and come back to the meat and potatoes of today. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. You can review it later on. We have Hector. Hector, we're doing a quick introduction, so please introduce yourself. What inspired you to get into TikTok? How did you become crypto creator? What was the station? Sorry, I think you're on mute, maybe.
You hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you beautifully.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, the way I got into crypto was in 2020 when COVID started. I started a brand new TikTok account because it was one of the newer social medias that was out there, and it was easier to grow on. So I made a brand new account under the username Crypto Comics with the idea of writing a blog actually with comics to explain the concepts of crypto. But I didn't really get around to writing much. I focused more on the videos. And in the beginning I was just doing explainer content, like what Bitcoin is, Ethereum, Chainlink, what the blockchain is. And those videos, have a couple hundred views. You can scroll to the bottom of my feed, you can see them. And then I started doing some more humor skit type videos. And one of the ones that went viral was where I did a skit about Laszlo, the guy who spent 30,000 Bitcoin on pizza or whatever. I made a skit about that, and then it went viral. Sorry, it's my son in the background. And yeah, it went viral, and it got 1 million. It has 3 million views to this day. So I figured that making funny content worked. So I kept making more videos, and fast forward, 4 years later, we're at 230,000, 40,000-ish followers on TikTok. And then we have a YouTube that we funnel talk people into. YouTube has around 12,000. And yeah, a lot of my expertise and my experience just comes from short form content, specifically in crypto and explaining like these complicated technical things in like 30-second videos for the average ADHD mind on TikTok.
Agreed. So let's get into some more complex questions. Well, like not necessarily complex for you, but complex for brands. So curiosity, for example, from your experience, let's talk about mistakes brand makes. So right, this is something that we all see. Like what makes brands get things right and get things wrong, and really getting things wrong might be the better way to put it. So maybe I will go one by one. So Chase, so let's start with you. And
yeah, so definitely I think the biggest mistake brands make is they don't know what they want from a sponsorship. They usually just say, we want this, and they want views. But it goes way deeper than that, because the content someone makes and where they make it will determine how that ad money is spent. So brands just come and they say, hey, we're going to give you money, make a video. And then they don't know what they want. Do they want engagement? Do they want more followers on Twitter? Do they want a lot of conversions for a free product, or a lot of conversions for a cheap product? Or do they have a high ticket product that they're not trying to reach the masses with? Or are they trying to have like a tutorial for a complex product? So that's definitely the biggest mistake I see with brands. They just give money and they just think views, but the brand has to know exactly what they want from that ad spend, because that will determine what video is made and how it's made. So that's where I see a lot of money goes to waste, because they just say, hey, here's money, get views, but they don't know what they're going for.
Very good, very good. Hector, what about yourself? What?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of meme coins and NFT projects try to market themselves on TikTok, and from TikTok specifically, the main mistakes I see brands make is that they try to make their accounts faceless. So they try to run all their content, all their videos on TikTok, like through slideshow type content, or like they'll just use like an AI software and get like a fake AI person reading off a script, promoting the coin. So I think, not showing your face on short form video formats is a big mistake, especially in crypto. The easiest way you can stand out as a crypto project, and the fastest way to gain trust, is just to show your face, right? So when you show your face, people can see, that you're a real person behind the project. You're relatable, and then it also kind of personifies the account more, versus just being like a token with a logo on the account. I think a big part of that is the TikTok is just more of a human platform. Like a lot of the stuff that people scroll on TikTok for is kind of more human content. And so I'd say the biggest mistake there on TikTok for brands is that they don't show their face. And then secondly, I'd say is that they take themselves too seriously. When you're showing up to a platform like TikTok, where it's like, a bunch of teenagers, and like where dances and viral, comedy skits go viral, you can't really be on there talking about ZK rollups and layer 2 parallel chains. Like, people don't understand that. They don't care. You have to kind of make things, you distill the ideas to the core, and make sure you kind of explain it in a funny, comedic, Gen Z style way. So I think, for brands that want to get on TikTok, I think they should really consult with a lot of the existing KOLs and kind of integrate them in part of their kind of marketing discussions, rather than just kind of going in blind and, giving $1,000 to some TikToker and saying, okay, promote it, right? Like, they should get more insight. There should be more back and forth from existing creators who know their audience best. So those are the two biggest mistakes I would say for TikTok.
Excellent. And yeah, and I'll step in here as well, because I've seen, for me, the brand, when they try to shill too much, like, meaning, or they'll try to go for a large volume, and they'll say, like, we're just gonna go hire everybody, and not having clear objectives, what they want to hear with that campaign, not having clear way to measure it. So, like, even the simplest way to measure a campaign would be is look at the traffic. So, like, a lot of back in the day, when there's not a lot of ways to, even now the tools on tracking are pretty weak in crypto, especially if it's not Web3, but it's specifically from creators. So like look at the day, how much users you're getting, how many. Figure out what you're trying to do. Are you trying to get social media, or are you trying to get users, or are you trying to get engagement? So those are 3 things that I feel a lot of brands do not do, and doing that will save them probably, I don't know, 70%, give them 70% better ROI on just overall engagement. And Sissy, if you'd like to share some.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks, Art. First of all, thanks everyone for being here. On Twitter, I've been on Twitter like a long time. In my mind, I think like 16 years or so. But I only started really doing the engagement thing just like 3 or 4 years ago. And I've noticed that a common mistake brands tend to make on Twitter is treating it as a broadcast platform rather than a conversational space. So I feel like brands could benefit from focusing on like a 2-way engagement, responding to tweets, participating in like trending conversations, hosting Twitter spaces for the community's benefit. Align with the creators that they're working with, align with their tone a little bit, and then just kind of going from there and then watching what works and then following that.
All right, so this is also one part where let's give if you have one actionable advice for everybody, maybe share one actionable advice for the brands when it comes to what mistake they shouldn't do. So I'll give mine. And for me, it's have a clear objective and ask from creator. So, like if you're not sure, don't say, "Oh, do whatever you want." It should be like we're trying to get followers to our Twitter, or we're getting users. Also, don't have too many actions. So decide on 1 or maximum 2 actions, and preferably they shouldn't be similar, and that will make a big difference. Who's next?
I have one.
Hector, let's go.
Yeah, sure. One of the ones I could say is probably after a brand goes out and hires a KOL, they should have someone on the team that is responsible for kind of scraping up the scraps. And what I mean by that is when you do a video, talking about a project, like I made a video once where I was talking about how to use like this wallet finding tool. It was a software. And I go through the video showing, going on Deck Screener. This is how you find the wallet, boom, boom, boom. And even when you explain things very well in a video, there are always those people who are just like, a little slower, and they post, in the comments, like, "Oh, how do you buy Bitcoin? Oh, what wallet is that? Oh, what's the website? I didn't see," right? So people who ask these really simple questions, they're not necessarily going to be replied to by the KOL all the time. And so I think it's the brand's responsibility to have someone that goes into that video and comments and replies to each of those follow-up questions, because those are a lot of leads that you can nurture and end up being converted. And yeah, if you're a big KOL, right, your video goes to 1 million views, you're not going to bother answering someone's question who asked it for like the 200th time on the same video. Like I still get videos, people ask me, "Where do I buy Bitcoin?" I'm like, dude, it's like the most obvious thing. Like just Google it. Like, that's if Coinbase had an account, they could just swoop in and be like, "Oh, join the Coinbase app," or whatever. But that's what I mean is there's like all these scraps and these dribbles, these drips of potential customers that are lost in the comment section that could be nurtured leads for brands. So that's one actionable advice I'd say, is just kind of to scour and scout like the comment section. It's a good idea even if you're a competitor to software being promoted. You could be the competitor and just kind of pick up those leads with the TikTok account, just answering questions.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it's great. Chase, would you like to share your actionable advice?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a repetition from what I said earlier, because I think it's the most important. And the big mistake, and I'll give an example, is they just say like, "Here's money, let's do a video," and they think that solves the problem. But they should know what they want, because it will help the conversions increase. I see a question here. It says, what kind of campaigns do you think drive the most conversions? So I think mid-roll, on YouTube at least, mid-roll ads convert the most conversions, because YouTube will kill a video if people log off right away. So if you have a video on YouTube, it could be the best video in the world. You open up with an intro ad. Those people don't really know you yet. They're not dedicated. They're just going to click off, and then YouTube's going to think the video sucks. So that video is not going to get views. Those early people who barely know you aren't going to buy anyway. And then on the opposite end, a dedicated video could be really boring if the topic is not great. Like if some of the brands maybe listening have some complex DeFi protocol, people aren't going to watch that, right? If it's boring and there's no demand for it. So I think mid-roll ads are really good for conversions, because you can make a video that you think is going to do well, or the creator thinks going to do very well. And if it's a good video, people are not going to skip the beginning as they would with an intro ad. They'll watch that video, you know, halfway through. YouTube's going to think this is a good video, and they're going to keep pushing it. And people that typically stay on a video till the middle or the end, they're more dedicated to the creator. So they're more likely to buy. So I would say that for conversions of like, let's say low ticket, medium type product, mid-roll ads on a video are probably the best for conversion. So basically the creator gets to choose what video they think can get a lot of views or interest, right? It could be on, you know, base meme coins or staking Solana or something like that. And then that video could do well because people don't think there's any ads or anything. So, you know, YouTube keep pushing it. And then in the middle, you have a lot of these people that have been watching you for like 4 or 5 minutes, and they're more likely to convert. So I would say, number one, like I said, know what you want. And then to number two, I think the best ad for conversions is a mid-roll on YouTube.
And there's a quick little question in here. What is more important, the title or the thumbnail?
Okay, so yeah, I paid a lot of gurus for all this stuff. So everyone hates the answer, but they're together. They're definitely together. I guess if you want to be technical, maybe the thumbnail, because that's what people see first. But most people see the thumbnail and they don't just click. They see the thumbnail, then quickly look at the title. So, you know, if you go to the grocery store and you see something that says cookies, that's the title, and it's in an ugly package, you're not going to buy it. And if you see a beautiful package, but you have no idea what's inside of it, there's no title, you're not going to buy it. So they are one. They're one package. If you want to be technical, the thumbnail is 1% more important because that's what people look at first. So it's the answer. Everyone wants the answer which one is better, but they're the same. They're one package.
All right, that's fair.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. So next question is we're gonna go into, so this is data-driven case study. So I already shared our case study recently. So at Lever, it was a YouTube creators engagement with a DeFi space. We did really well. Very notably, they also did really well at SEO. So it means now they're ranking for not just their brand name, but also for just you know, DeFi type terms. So that's another reason to keep in mind when you're doing videos. So it's not just direct translation to conversion, but also there is a larger view. All right, so so case studies. Let's. Who wants to go first? Hector, you ready, or you need something?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the example here.
Yeah. It's all about case studies for us, because, you know, people talk a lot, but the reality is we want to show in this show that there are, you know, lots of different ways to engage, and ultimately data driven is the king.
Yeah. Okay, I have the perfect example. So this was for a gaming project called Big Time Studios, I believe. And they paid me, and I saw a bunch of other KOLs on TikTok talking about the same project. So I think they ended up paying a bunch of us at the same time for this promotion. And I have a screen share tool if I can. But basically, it was just a Web3 gaming project. But the thing they had going for them was they were launched by the same company behind Epic Games. Like some of the same key members from Epic Games were also part of this. And if you don't know Epic, they are the company behind Fortnite. So the way I promoted them, and this one got 2.4 million views. You guys can see the screen here. Yeah.
We can
I'm not gonna play the audio because it's gonna be weird to hear it. But basically, I started the video talking about like what's so crazy, the fact that Fortnite earned $1 billion from in-game purchases alone. And then so that's the hook, right? It's the first 3 seconds. It's something everyone understands. Fortnite, everyone understands how the microtransaction economy works. So just for everyone to get an idea of the scale of the money, that's why I started the video like that. And then I talked about what if you could bring that same value that you bought of the digital asset in the game, what if you could bring it outside of the game through the form of NFTs? And then that's where I kind of talk about the project Big Time. So in that example, I was tasked with starting up a video and doing a video about Big Time, which is the gaming project. And basically in the beginning, the first few seconds, I talked about money. I explained how Fortnite works, and essentially like in the first 3 seconds, that was what mattered most. And eventually I bridged it over to the concept of Big Time and Web3 gaming and what they're building. But I didn't start with that, right? The beginning was something more general, more relatable, larger funnel. And then once I had their attention, in the next 5 seconds, I talked about NFTs. And then the last few parts, I talked about what the Big Time project is doing themselves. So for TikTok, you have to have a really good hook in the beginning. It could be, doesn't matter what your project is, right? Like it could be the coolest project, but if you're not explaining it well, if you're not wrapping it up, if you're not packaging it in a way that the masses will understand or will even have the attention to comprehend, then it's not going to do well. So one actionable advice from that is don't use an Android phone. If you're going to be on TikTok, always use an iPhone, because Android quality will just, it's just different. I mean, that was one example. I can send the link in the chat here because I don't want to play the video because the audio will sound weird. But I can send a link later if you guys want. I can put it in the comments or something.
Please do. We'll post in the comments. So CC will take care of that. All right, fantastic.
And I have one more. Where is it?
So everybody,
I can find the video later on this one too. But essentially it was for I was doing a promotion for Zapper.fi. So they're like a wallet scanning tool. You can type in any address and it tells you, the portfolio of that wallet, what they're doing, when their last transactions were, etc. And what I did was I covered a hack that recently happened. So Curve Finance was hacked like I think 2 years ago for like $30 million or something like that. And then they posted the address of the hacker on Cointelegraph. And so I made a video explaining, this is how this guy is making $30,000 a day with DeFi. And then I explained, this guy hacked Curve Finance for $30 million. He put that 30 million into a liquidity pool. That liquidity pool is earning like 5%. And then each day he's making like 30,000 in fees. And then I used Zapper.fi to examine his wallet, his portfolio, and then kind of break it down for everyone to see the math. And that video went really viral. I think people liked being able to see, the wallet balance and seeing what this hacker was doing with the money. I think that's something that you could really lean into if you're making crypto content on TikTok, is just kind of examining wallets and explaining to people what's going on behind them, especially when they're wallets with big balances. People like to kind of idealize that they could mimic the same success as a multi-million-dollar wallet will. So it's really cool content to make around that. And that was another promotional example for Zapper.fi.
Fantastic. So great example. Thank you very much. And Chase, let's bring you on, and you can give us some what are you finding and interesting from your experience.
You mean in terms of that case study of like a video?
Yeah, some sort of.
So I mean, it goes really deep into how to place ads and what types of videos, but I think just two of the more important ones are mid-roll ad versus like a dedicated video. And it has to do with what you're trying to do or how expensive the product is. So I'll share my screen here. Okay, so you guys can see my screen here. So for example, I didn't put an ad in this video, but this is an example of a video that had a lot of demand. So if I was a brand coming here.
Just 1 second. I don't see the screen share. So let me see.
Wait, let me see.
All right, there we go.
Let me try it again.
Yeah, it showed up for a second. Yeah.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
So for example, if one of the brands here has a product that might be a low ticket, or maybe it's boring, honestly, because there's a lot of great products in crypto that are boring. If you just make a video about a boring product, people aren't going to see it anyway. So for example, this video here, I made this on Ton. So let's say the brand, I didn't put an ad in this video, but let's say the brand had a wallet or some new protocol or something like that. That video alone might not get views or engagement. But if you place that in a hot demand video, right, it has a better chance of being seen. And the good thing about some of these in-demand videos is that the demand can increase at any moment as well. So
take advantage
about this video, and it started off like pretty strong, right? After 2 weeks, it had 20,000 views, but then the demand for Ton went up because the price went up, coins on Ton went up. So then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, then this video started to explode. So YouTube videos have this longer shelf life. So if you have these mid-roll ads on a video that has demand and might get demand in the future, right? It could be there for, a month, 2 months, consistently getting ads. Now, this is for, I would say, a lot of crypto products where it's cheaper. It might be a protocol that's free to use, or it might be something that costs like $20 or $30. I do think that those type of ads are better spent in a mid-roll ad, not on a dedicated video. But there are times where a dedicated video makes sense, even though it's going to get less views. So for example, this is a video over here on I Trust Capital. This is a crypto Roth IRA. And this isn't meant for, low spending. This is meant for people to deposit, let's say $100 to start, and then up to $6,000 per year for, a Roth IRA. So this video only has 22,000 views, right? I've had videos get 100,000, 200, 300,000. But this video, this dedicated video for this, let's say, high ticket product, it didn't have to reach 100,000 people. It just had to reach exactly who it had to reach. So in this case, 22K views, right, compared to 100 or 200,000. But this did very well for the company and for the brand because it was very targeted at the brand. So I guess to sum that up, if it's like a more viral, low ticket type product, you could just plug that into a good video, whatever the video's on. But if it's a more expensive product, I did this was 2 years ago, I did a sponsor for this company where they wanted signups. But what does that mean? $15,000 minimum. So I just realized now that video would have been better as a targeted, dedicated video addressing just those people. But at that time, I just made a random video and then plugged this expensive product in the middle, and it didn't convert. So yeah, if you have a very complex, expensive product, you don't even want to go viral. You just want to make videos or content that goes directly to those people. And then if you have something like more low ticket or even, free, like a sign up, that's where I think it makes a lot more sense just to plug it into a video that could get a lot of views.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And and I will say for the dedicated content, definitely, I would say dedicated content more important when you don't have much traction. So if you don't have much traction, and you're like nobody can find you, or there's very few videos, or they're outdated, that's when also dedicated video can work really well.
Oh yeah, I want to add to what you just said there, because dedicated videos are still very important. I had a company with a DeFi protocol on Solana come to me, and they wanted a dedicated video, and for them, it's just because there was no tutorials on this product. So if you have something that there's no videos on, right, and there's no guide and there's no tutorial, then that's a time it definitely makes sense to do a dedicated video. Like, even if it's not going to get a lot of views, even if it's, you know, maybe not an expensive product, there's just no videos on your protocol. So in that case, I think a good example today would be, there's no way Uniswap is paying anyone to make a tutorial on Uniswap, because there already exist a million videos. But if some brand new swapping platform on Sui comes out, right, they have no videos. So they might go to a creator and pay them for a dedicated video, even though everyone knows that video might not get a lot of views or conversions, but it doesn't exist yet. So in that case, I think it makes sense to do a dedicated video as well.
Yeah. And that's what we see on Lever. Like a lot of projects, there are smaller projects. They're thinking, how do we, you know, get the stars? I'm like, before you can get the stars, you got to learn how to walk. And the reality is, if nobody trusts you, if you don't have enough content out to even about what this does, or the tutorials, think about it as a funnel. Like, so I always tell the brand, think of the funnel. Funnel is user finds some information about you in some way, maybe Twitter, maybe online, you went to conference, and then they want to dig in. They want to learn about your product. They want to learn more about you. And if there is not enough information that's easy to find, and that's very important, easy to find, that easy, you know, one search away, what will happen? They're probably not going to do anything with your product. So I would say foundation is very important for you, for any company. Therefore, my takeaway would be, for what basically building on what Chase said, is know when you, like, if you're young and new, probably a couple of dedicated videos are really important for you. And then doing ad rolls for exposure and engagement, combining those. So it's really balanced. Cici, you have a case study for us.
I do. So I am a Metaverse maxi, and one of the things that I helped do was populate a world, which is hard, just in case you were wondering. So I am what they call a spatial guide for spatial.io. And I used my platform, so mostly Twitter, to increase user engagement and drive traffic to Spatial, which is a Metaverse platform focused on immersive 3D spaces and virtual experiences. So I used Twitter and Instagram and a few other Web3 social media platforms to leverage, you know, campaigns and foster engagement across platforms. I created experiences. I worked with the world to do cross-platform engagement. So not just that particular platform, but like also platforms like Sandbox, Decentraland, VR chat, that sort of things. Using Metaverse Monday, the podcast, as well as the Twitter space. And then we did in-world engagement as well. So I think there was like month over month while we were doing the campaign, I think it went from 2 million unique users to 120. No, not 2 million from, let me see, I'm getting the numbers wrong, sorry. So by the end of 2023, so after the full year campaign, we had like 500,000 registered creators and 2 million unique users, and over 127 million hours spent within the platform. Because the Spatial pivoted focus on being just a meeting place for corporations to being like a platform for creators. So it was intense, it was really fun, and it was a lot of work, and it was mostly down to creating experiences that benefited the users, so the community members. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I guess the actionable takeaway for this would be work on fostering like organic engagement through storytelling and interactive content. Metrics such as retention, participation, and social shares should take precedence over just clicks. And then I think this drives meaningful community interaction, helps position your brand for growth. So.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. It's it's actually fits into the question we have from Crypto Warehouse for large ticket products, channel or stream sponsorships. It's really a combination. There is no one right answer, but I would say what you want to do is work with different creators. If you're a brand, you want to work with different creators and see what works better for you or for your audiences. A lot of people think there is already, blueprint for everything, but truth is crypto is still a very new space, and we have a lot of new products, and all those products and new elements, they still need to be tested out. Even when I was Apollo Market or IoTex, I never approached that we figured it out. Like really is, we're still expanding, we're still changing, and it's, you have to experiment and see. Maybe you should do channel sponsorship. Maybe you should do ad roll videos, as Chase said. Maybe you should do Twitter or TikTok, really have a budget and run it more of an experimentations. All right, we're going to allocate this much budget to run an experimentation. The last thing I see brands do, like, oh, we don't really have a budget. Well, you guys raise money, so you should have a budget for marketing. And I would say set up a hard budget, be that 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, depending on where you are. I say marketing budget should be around 25% you raised as a startup. And if you don't allocate that money, what will happen is others will beat you and beat you to market and competition. So really figure out how to spend that money better, figure out how to do data-drivenly. And a lot of tips today we're sharing is about that. And the next question is also about that. So it's measuring engagement and success. From a creator's perspective, what should brand focus on when measuring the success of a campaign? What engagement metrics really matter? And Chase, let's bring you in because it's
to that question, the large ticket ones. Or...
No. This is for from creator's perspective. What is measurement of engagement and success? Is it any specific metrics you think are more important? What is successful for campaign brand? What they should be considering
for a campaign or brand? To simplify it, that they get what they want. They want to pay sponsorship money to get more followers on Twitter. Did they get the followers on Twitter? Yes. Do they have a $10,000 product they want to sell? Were they able to sell it from a sponsorship to 10 people? Yes. So I know I keep saying it because I think it's the biggest thing and the biggest mistake is that people don't know what they want. They might, on the opposite end, someone might pay, $3,000, $4,000 for a YouTube video, and the video gets 1 million views, and it could still be a failed campaign because from those 1 million views, no one used the platform, no one signed up, right? And the opposite end, someone can make a video where it gets only 100 views, and of those 100, 70 signed up. So for any brand listening, just say, why are you spending money? What do you want? Do you want to make sales? Do you want to get more followers? Do you just want brand awareness? And then you just measure if you get that. So I still think, I don't think that's going to be solved. I don't think most brands will ever realize this, that they're just giving the money, but they don't even know what they want. So I think that's how you measure it. We're paying money to get sales of our hardware wallet. All right, they make the video. Did they get sales of the hardware wallet? No, failed campaign.
And so the actionable advice from that, what would you say the actionable advice for them would be on this tip?
So the actionable advice is, I don't know how, I know this because I went into it so much, but I don't know how many other creators know this or even care to tell the brand about this. But basically, if the brand comes to me and says, hey, we have a very complex product and it costs a lot of money to use, I would say to them, for this, I think a very detailed, dedicated video might make sense. right? Or if a brand just wants like a lot of conversions, right? A low ticket thing, it might even be free. They might come to me. And I would say if you really want to increase those conversions, because that's what you want, let's do like some sort of cheap giveaway, right? So people sign up. So I think the brands giving the money, unfortunately, have to be the ones that take this on, this responsibility, because the creator won't care. If you just go to the creator and the brand's clueless and they're like, we're going to give you $10,000 if you do this, the creator's just going to say, okay. Like, they're not going to tell you, I think that's a horrible video, I think that's not going to sell, it's not going to work. So I think it's on the brands to know exactly what they want, and the best place to do it, because also platform to platform, right? Certain things work better on Twitter, right? And certain things work better on YouTube, and certain things work better on TikTok. So yeah, I think it's on, if the brand doesn't want to waste their money, they have to know exactly what they want. And then I would say from there, if you know what you want, you don't have to know everything after. If you know you want signups for a $20 product, just mention that to the creator you're working with and ask them, how do you think is the best way we can get, 100 people to sign up?
Absolutely. And in fact, Chase, like that, you made a really good point, because when back in the Apollo market, like if I'm working with a creator, I wouldn't tell them to create this. I would just suggest, like, here's what we're working on. This is our objectives. How would you do it? Because they know their audience is better. They know how to communicate with them better. So who am I to tell them? Because they will still ultimately do it better. So for brands, when Chase said, don't get scared, it's not that hard. It just know objective and decide an objective, and then let the creator help you come to that offering or how to package it, because that's what they want to do. They want to create really cool stuff. Maybe let's bring up Hector. And Hector, what's your advice on that?
Sorry, what was the question again? It was about engagement.
It's what's measuring engagement success? What should brand focus on when measuring the success of the campaign, and what engagement metrics matter?
I'm going to echo what Chase was saying, and basically, it just matters about what you're measuring. So, if you have $1,000 to throw at a video, what are you really looking to get out of it, right? Is it like email signups? Is it Twitter followers? Is it Discord users? From my perspective, I think if you have a really complicated project that people don't understand, and you want to market on TikTok, I think the best way to get that ROI back is to funnel them into a nurturing kind of channel. So either that be like your Telegram group or your Discord group, because once you get new people in there, you can have a more like one-on-one conversation and explain what the project is and answer their questions in a more thorough manner. But whereas if you just kind of point them to your Twitter, it's easy to get forgotten, because you follow so many people on Twitter, you kind of forget what this project was about. So I think if you're doing TikTok, I think it's better to lead them into like a Telegram or a Discord, and then from there you can filter further and see who actually becomes a conversion, who ends up becoming a user.
Yeah, absolutely. And what would be your one actionable advice?
Get really good at hooks. I'd say probably hire like a copywriter, because the scripting is really important for the project, and don't be afraid to not be taken so serious. Like don't take yourself too serious with these videos, especially if you're marketing on TikTok.
All right, sounds good. CC, how about you? Let's bring you on.
Ooh, measuring engagement and success. I'd say you got to spark conversation, keep the brand visible while also building trust. So, your target audience, your target community needs to feel heard. I think that's one of the biggest things. You can't come into a Twitter space and just shill yourself or advertise yourself and say, act fast, act now, like, buy our product, whatever it happens to be. You need to have like a community manager. If you really want to get into the Web3 space, you need somebody in the community who can be your manager. And then you can start building trust and deepen conversations and provide value. And that happens in Twitter. in Twitter Spaces mostly. And then you're looking at replies, retweets, mentions, even DMs, you know, all of those metrics can start telling a deeper story for you. So yes, it's great to have a KOL to sort of maybe introduce you, sort of like get the ball rolling on things, but you can't rely on that KOL unless they're on your payroll to like continue those conversations. I think Chase said it, you know, go into those videos that you're posting and do the replies as the company or brand. I think that's really, really important because I won't buy anything, click on anything unless I trust it. And I'm a digital native, like I'm a Web3 native. And I feel like sometimes Web2 brands trying to get into Web3 don't understand that, you know, you can't just be a commercial. You have to be real.
Yeah, it's and yeah, audiences, please, if you have any questions, write it now because we're going to be wrapping up soon. So this is the time to ask any questions for our panelists. I'll answer also in engagement and success. So I would say to me, be very aware of your analytics on site, also on-chain analytics and on-site analytics. I find Web3 projects oftentimes a little too gung-ho on Web3 analytics, but they're not very gung-ho on like basically on regular analytics. And I would say those you want to figure out how to fuse together. And measuring campaign, I always say, what are you measuring? Are you like, if you're a brand with no recognition, then your measurement is just getting the word out about you and content that you can use for existing audiences or existing engagement or the future engagement. So really building the foundation of the, you know, your brand you're going to build. And then you try different verticals. Try, if you're a DeFi space, to see if you should do DeFi creators or trading creators. For example, Lever, you can actually select. You can do just DeFi, or can do most specifically DeFi and trading, or you can do DeFi trading on Bitcoin or DeFi trading on Ethereum or Solana. So you can actually segment what you need to target. And, you know, we do the legwork for you. So I would say segmentation and understanding who you're targeting, how you're targeting is super important. All right. And one more question, last but not least, what some successful strategies you would use for educating, you give to brand to educate their audiences? Can you share strategies that have worked effectively when it comes to educating your audience on behalf of a brand? So Hector, I know you have quite a bit of experience with that.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is because crypto's full of so many bad actors and scammers and people who are just trying to, you know, drain liquidity. I would say the biggest thing is if you could tell people what not to do, if you could show people how hacks occur, what are the biggest mistakes that beginners make, you know, what are the risks of doing liquidity pooling. Like if you could show people what not to do, if you could show people, you know, common mistakes and pitfalls to avoid, then that gains you a lot of, that gains you a big audience because people trust you immediately. You're not just some guy who's yelling like, "Oh, Bitcoin's going to $1 million next week." Right? There's like a gazillion people doing that. But if you tell people like what to avoid and show them, you know, what the bad things are out there, the pitfalls, you can gain a trust. You can gain a lot of audience just from them trusting you and your advice. And it's also an easy way to stick out from your competitors because you kind of position yourself as an authority about that topic. And not a lot of people on TikTok are doing that, to be frank. I think that's a really easy way for brands to stand out.
Yeah, excellent. It's so there you have it, brands. You have both the actionable advice and advice together. Hector, thank you. You nailed it. So that's what you can do, and like that's something I think for us, like for my advice for educating audiences, like figure out a funnel that educates as much of an audience within your ecosystem. So what I found oftentimes, you have Discord, you have Telegram, you have Twitter, you have whatever, maybe mailing list, and oftentimes they're not in sync. They're sporadic and chaotic. So build it out in a way that when, let's say, you have a creator, you can say, hey, everybody, take a look. And you have a very clean system where you post it to Twitter, to LinkedIn, you send out a newsletter, you wrap it in a good story. So really it shouldn't be sporadic. Build a system, build a flow, and things will fall into place. Because if you just, oh, well, look, we just released this. Maybe quarter of your audience know this, but maybe the other part of your audience does not know. So how do you figure out the flow where you can, whatever the news brand has, 80% of your audience will see it. And that start with that. Is right now, would that happen? Because let's say if you have majority of your audience on Discord, but it's maybe 60%. What about the other 40%? Or you have a lot more people on Telegram, but Telegram is also not very visible. So my advice to them is, do use like mailing lists. Mailing lists are very effective because it's more of a personal. So the way I see it is, Twitter to me is more of quick updates on a company. Something happening, they can catch it or not a big deal. Then you have YouTube more in depth. So if you do sessions or AMAs or engagements, it's more in depth, but you're not going to do them all the time. And people not going to watch them oftentimes. So then newsletter is more of like your personal kind of letter to your audience, where you can get to tell them, share information with them and tell them what and how. So therefore, figure out what would be the best dedicated place that would unite your audience. And then whenever you have a creator, you never have a post, you can send it to your whole entire audience. And that's also a reason to have, dedicated videos or mentions, because you're not just getting new audience, you're also engaging your existing audience. And that's, I think, really the biggest part of the big brands are how do you engage your existing audience. And Sissy, if you want to jump on this one.
I just want to enhance everything that you two said and just say, remember to meet your target audience where they're at. So you're going to have everyone's going to be on a spectrum of level of education and level of capability. So you want to be able to have content for like people who just discovered you and your brand today. And then you want something for, the people who are really getting into it. And then you want to have content for those who are expert users or, natives, if you will. So always remember to sort of have a rainbow, a spectrum of content that is, like palatable to everyone. But other than that, I think Art and Hector, you guys on the nail.
Thank you.
Whatever.
Well, check us. So by the way, everyone you heard today are in Lever. So Hector, Hi CC, Bitcoin Express, they're all on Lever. So you can go on lever.io, lever.io/brands to sign up as a brand. And thank you Hector, Hi CC, Chase for coming here, and all the audiences to tuning in and hearing, what we're working on, because I believe this is really changeable, needed thing where there's no trust right now. Brands don't trust creators don't trust brands. And really it's all about how to build the trust where you as a brand can do the most with your money and get the best audience and best engagements, and creators get compensated in a way where it's organic and not shilly, and really share the news they're excited about. So that's the vision. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Hi CC. Oh, maybe Hector say goodbye as well. Hi CC, say goodbye.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Sorry, tiny human.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Crypto Warehouse. Yeah.